Hey guys, it's John here from the Body Engineers, and in today's workout I've got a cool little band assisted or band resisted workout that I'm going to show you today. This is a workout you can do from essentially anywhere. All you need is a set of bands. So I've got a green band from Rogue Fitness, and I've also got some of these bands with handles on them. So ideally you'd have some with handles for some of the exercises. This one is by Corex. And I have a light, medium, and a heavy band as well, so you can adjust the resistance. So in this workout, what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 rounds of 3 different exercises, 60 seconds for each one, 15 seconds rest, and then we're going to do that for 3 rounds, and then we're going to do 3 groups of that. So to start with, we're going to do a band-resisted stationary lunge. So how you're going to do that is you're going to place the band over your shoulders, and then you're going to go into the kneeling position and then place the band underneath your foot. So then you're going to do a stationary lunge from this position where you're driving through the floor, and then when you get to the top, you're going to be working a lot harder against the resistance of the band, and at the bottom it'll be a little bit easier. So we're going to do this 1 round each side, 60 seconds rest, 60 seconds work, 15 seconds rest, and then for the third exercise, we're going to do a back exercise. So this is going to be a full body workout. So we're going to be doing both lower body and then straight into upper body. So for this one, what you need is a pole to use to attach the band to. So either if you have some sort of attachment like this at home, or like a table with a really strong table where you can pull against and it won't move, and then a mat on the ground for your knees. And then what you can do is get a nice tall posture, and then just rowing back, squeezing the shoulders right to the back. So the main thing with this is to keep the band in line with the forearm the whole time. So that will mean that you get more activation in the back rather than the biceps. If the band is too easy for you, then what you can do is go into more of a sort of an abducted raise or like extension like this, where you're kind of a lateral raise but in a more upright position. So with this one, you're going to hit similar muscles, but you also will get a bit of the back of the arm as well. So that's the first 3 exercises or 3 rounds that we're going to do. I've got a timer to go through it with you. So it's a minute for each exercise, 15 seconds transition in between each one. And are you guys ready? So we're going to start off with the stationary lunge, band resisted. So if the band or if the stationary lunge is hard enough for you already, then maybe just do body weight to start with. Or if you need some assistance, or like if you have trouble balancing, then maybe hold on to something while you're actually doing it. So are you guys ready? So we're going to start off with the stationary lunge in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. So you're going to place the band underneath your foot, and then keep nice and tall, and then just extending at the top. Just make sure it doesn't rip your shirt. And then so you're just slowly going down, knee forward a little bit, driving through the floor. So this band just adds a lot more resistance. You feel it a lot more in the glutes, like this. So it makes it a bit easier at the bottom. And then as you extend, it's going to get harder and harder. So 30 seconds to go. So just lean back, keep nice and tall, push through the floor. Knee forward a little bit, make sure the knee stays over the foot, doesn't go in too much or out. That's it. 15 seconds. And then if you want to make it harder, you can sort of pulse a bit more at the bottom. Now, that actually makes it easier in terms of less resistance from the band, but it'll make it harder because you can't rest as much. And that's it. So switch sides. So you've got 15 seconds to transition. Just shake it down a little bit, then you're going to place it over the other shoulder this time. And then you go into a kneeling position, place the band underneath your foot, and then you're driving back up. Make sure it doesn't touch the microphone. The knee forward just a little bit, lean back, and then push through the floor. So this just adds a bit more resistance compared to just doing it with body weight. And if you don't have any dumbbells, then this is a good alternative to make it a little bit harder. You could also have a backpack on your back to add some extra resistance. That's it. So you're just pushing through the ground. Think about extending a leg rather than extending the knee to try and get more activation of the glute. 15 seconds. Now, if you want to make this harder, you could actually add 2 bands, which I'll do in the next round just to demonstrate. 5 seconds. And then we're going into the row. Push and rest. So you want to go down into kneeling position to get the band out again. And then we're going to go into the row. So you're going to grab the band, which is going to be attached to something solid. So the further away you go, the harder it's going to be. And then you're just driving arms to sort of try and retract your shoulders first, and then hands down a little bit as you drive them back, squeeze the shoulders together. So you're trying to keep the forearm in line with the cable or the band the whole time. Now this band's a bit easy for me, so I could go out to the side like this more. And that makes it a lot more harder because you've got more distance between where the band attaches and your shoulder. And then you can kind of pulse a bit more at the back like this to make it harder. So squeeze the shoulders right together. Keep nice and tall. A few more seconds. There you go. So you're squeezing the shoulders right together, trying to get that full retraction. And rest. All right, so that's the end of the first round. So we've got 2 more rounds. And then we're going to go into 2 different exercises. So if you want to make this harder, you could use 2 bands. So you'd place one over one shoulder, going crossways, and the other one over the other shoulder. And then you'd put both of them underneath your feet like this. Now it's going to make it a bit harder to stand up, obviously. And then you're just pushing through the floor. And then slowly down. Make sure it's not kind of over your neck, so it's going to like pull your neck forward. So it makes it really hard here, where the band's fully extended. So drive into the floor. Push, feel this a lot more in the glutes. 20 seconds. That's it. 10 seconds. 5. Last few reps, it's burning quite a bit. And rest. And then you're gonna get out of this. Oops, gone the wrong way. And then you're gonna switch sides. So shake it out a little bit. Actually could have kept this on still, but. Okay, and then straight into the other side. So same thing, you almost need a bit more rest just to get ready. And stand up nice and tall, and then drive through the floor. So lean back, push. Just keep nice and tall. It actually makes it a bit easier to balance with the bands as well somehow. But if you have trouble balancing, just hold on to something at the same time, just so you can really focus on the activation of the right muscles, like your glutes, your quads, hamstrings, rather than the lower foot or lower leg. 15 seconds. And again, you can pulse a bit more at the bottom to make it harder. One more. Good. And then rest there. So then we're going to go back into the row. So if you want to make this harder, you can use a different band, so a heavier one. So I've got a heavy one here. So again, make sure you're far enough away. It's going to make it challenging. So retract the shoulders and then squeeze right at the back. Keep that forearm in line with the cable or the band. So just use your fingers really to grip it. Again, if that's easy, you can come out to the side. Squeeze the shoulders. Sit, pause. Back to the middle. Out, hold it. That's it. Just try and keep the tension. If you go straight in front like this, it's going to make it easy, so you can kind of keep going by only going forward a little bit and then straight back again, and it makes it significantly harder. That's it, keep going. And rest there. Okay, so one more round. So we're going to go back to the stationary lunge. So you can either use 2 or 1 bands. I'm just going to use 1 just because it's a bit easier to get into. And then place it underneath the foot again, straight back up. You can actually feel quite a bit easier like this compared to 2 bands. Now if you have obviously if you're taller, this will make it harder as well. So you could hold it with your arms kind of like this instead, and then come up. That's another way of making it a bit more challenging compared to just doing body weight. But if you're a bit too tall for the band, then this is an alternative. So push, 20 seconds, 15. Just make sure the knee stays over the foot, and then you're pushing the hip out to the side to get more activation in the glutes. 5 seconds. 1 more. And rest. Whew. Feel that quite a lot in the glutes. So other side, 1 more on this side, 5 seconds. So you can start at the bottom and then you're driving up. With the band, it just gives a bit more resistance when you're kind of almost at full extension like this, because it's harder out there with the band. So it's actually kind of a good thing. So drive, lean back. The smoother you are with the movement, the harder it actually is. The more controlled you are. So just don't rush it. 30 seconds, halfway. 20 seconds. Good. Last few, you're doing well. 10. Ooh. Burns. 5. And rest. Feel it a bit because I did legs yesterday as well. Okay, and then 1 more with the row. So you're going to grab, so whichever one's the hardest, it's probably better to have the mat this way around. And then, so retract the shoulders first, and then row back, pause at the back, hold it there. This is where you really want to focus on, particularly when you're using a resistance that may be a bit too easy. Hold, and then slowly forward. Just don't rest too much at the front with your arm extended because there's no resistance. Or you can go out to the side. Pause, slowly back. That's it. And if you hold it there, it's even harder. Trying to squeeze your shoulders together. Just to there and then back again. Hold it. Keep the chest nice and tall. And rest. Good. Okay, that's the end of the first series of exercises. So we've got a little break, and then we're going to go to the next series where we're going to do, again, the same format. We're going to do lower body, and then we're going to do something for the upper body, which is going to be more the front of the body, upper body next. Okay, so just grab a bit of water, and we'll see you in a minute. All right, so for the next series of exercise, for the B series, we're going to do a banded lateral walk. So this exercise is really cool for the lateral or the abductors of the side. So it's a good exercise at strengthening the stabilizers of the hip. Also, it works kind of the inside leg in an eccentric way. So it's a pretty cool exercise. So how you're going to do this is you're going to grab the band with 2 hands, step onto the band. So depending on how hard you want to make it, you can start either wide or close together. And then you're just walking out to the side, but you're trying to do it as smooth as you can. Don't try and do it fast. So as you let this leg come inwards, you're trying to control it, not kind of just let it collapse in. Try and slowly let it go in. And you're just going side to side. So like 2 steps or 3 steps, and then 2 or 3 steps the other way as well. So we're doing that for 60 seconds, and then we're going to do an upper body exercise for the chest. So we're going to do a kind of a humeral adduction, so bringing the arm across so you can just kneel onto a mat like this. You want to get kind of approximately 90 degrees to the band. So if you start with just a slight bend in the elbow, and then you're just letting the band go out to the side. So here it's going to be really quite easy. But as you come in, it's getting harder and harder and harder, trying to find that squeeze in the chest. So depending on, like even this band, which is a lighter band, actually quite heavy, quite hard in this position. So you could use a lighter one, or you could come closer to make it easier, and then you might be able to get a bit further across. So we're doing that for 60 seconds each side, and then again, we're going to do 3 rounds for each. All right. So again, I got my timer. So are you guys ready? So we're going to start with the banded lateral raises first in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. So you're going to stand or hold the band with 2 hands, and then you're just going side to side, slowly letting it come in, and you might want it to be a bit wider with your feet. Just make sure you're controlling it. So this may not feel super hard to begin with, but as you do it and as you try to do it as slowly and as smoothly as possible, it will feel quite hard and it will burn in the sides. And you can also get into more of a squat position to make it a bit harder as well. So again, just side to side. Make sure you're not trying to push too far out, because that can actually aggravate the hip a bit. You're just going out just a little bit and then back in and then across. It's really starting to burn. Ooh. And then across. Last few seconds. And rest. Actually burns quite a bit. And then we're going into the adduction. So these 2 exercises are kind of pretty simple exercises, but they are very effective at activating these muscles. So for this one, the chest, and the other one for the side hip stabilizers or abductors. So again with this, just giving a slight bend in the elbow, and then try and keep your shoulder blades still as you bring the arm across. So you're trying to bring this part across like that. So trying to bend the elbow, just bringing it right across, hold it, squeeze as hard as you can, and then slowly back. Also, another thing that's going to make a difference is this angle between the band and your forearm. So that as that gets less and less, it's going to get easier. When it's at 90 degrees like there, it's going to get harder, but you also have to take into consideration how much tension there is in the band as well. So as you bring it across, so quite a good thing with this is you can orientate yourself so that as you bring the arm across, it gets harder with the band, but the angle drops to less than 90, so it makes it a bit easier. So then you're going to do the other side. So we're going to go around this side. I'm going to come on this angle. And then you're just going to do the same thing. So try and get set up in the same angle on this side so that it feels even. Because if you're in a different position, then it might feel different. And in fact, I'm a little bit, if I came this way, probably more similar to what I did on the other side. So trying to keep the shoulder back and then bring the arm across. Pause, try and really feel it in the chest. Hold it, squeeze as hard as you can, and then back. And if you want to make it harder, come further away from the band. Pause, and then across. Pause, hold it, really try and squeeze as hard as you can, and then back again. So if you're someone that finds it hard to feel in the chest, this is probably one of the best ways of activating the chest muscle because it directly opposes the pull of the chest. All right, that's the end of round 1. So we've got 2 more rounds to go. So we're going to go back to the standing lateral raises in 2 seconds. So grab the band, 2 hands. So again, you don't want to go too far out to the side with this, otherwise it might irritate your hip a little bit, particularly if you've got some hip issues. So just really small movements, and the faster you go, the harder it will be, but you also want to make it as smooth as possible. So you want to keep the tension the whole time. That's it. 30 seconds. It's in a nice squat position, a semi-squat. 20 seconds. That's it. Just make sure you're slowly letting the leg come in with the resistance of the band. Ooh, this is burning. 10 seconds. And rest. Ooh. It's quite effective for the hips. So then we're going to go back to the kneeling humeral adduction. So this is like for targeting the chest as much as possible. So you're just coming across, slide bend in the elbow. Try and bring it across as far as you can. Try and squeeze this muscle as much as possible. But what you don't want to do is bring the arm, the shoulder blade around like this. Try and keep it sort of back and squeeze. That's it. Just over 30 seconds. And again, if you want to make it harder, pulse more. Like slow motion. You don't need to go all the way back here because it'll be too easy. There's no resistance. All you want to focus on is this bit. Just squeezing, smooth as you can. Get a real good pump in the chest. A few more seconds. And rest. And then switch sides. So we're going to go this way. So if you don't have any equipment at home, this is a pretty cool exercise for training the chest, because really there's only a few exercises that you can do with no equipment, like a push-up. That's actually effective for the chest. This is another good exercise you can do with only one piece of equipment needed, really. So just a slight bend in the elbow and squeeze, try and squeeze at the inside, really try and feel it as much as you can. So you really want to try and hold it here, try and squeeze, and then when you can't do any more, just go slowly out to give you a little bit of rest and then come back in, but no wider than this. And it's probably not as far across as you think is where you feel it the most. And when you're coming directly across like this, so you want to make sure again that this band is kind of in line with the middle of your chest, so your nipple line. Now hit the middle fibers of your pec, whereas if you come at different angles, you'll hit different parts of it. Okay, so that's the end of the second round. One more round to go. So we're going back to the banded lateral raises. So the last one. So stepping on the band, grab with 2 hands, and then slowly in and out. So you can get into maybe more of a deeper squat. That's it. Really slow movements, smooth as possible. 30 seconds. That's it. Feel the weakness on my right side more than the left. I'm also pretty sore from yesterday. Whew, This is burning. 10 seconds. Wow, that's hard. Okay, so then last one on the chest exercise. To make sure you're roughly 90 degrees to the band. So when you're sort of like straight in front, the arms pointing straight forwards, you're about 90 degrees. So when you come across, it gets a bit less than 90 to get it a little bit easier. And then you can pulse it, really squeezing. But remember, don't do this. If you do this, it's going to be more bicep. So you want to like keep the angle of your elbow as fixed as possible, and then just bring it across. Just from here, like imagine the weight is kind of attached, or the resistance is attached here. This will make it a bit too easy, but this is what you're trying to do with the arm. So you're taking away from the elbow and wrist. So last few seconds. So squeeze. And it sometimes helps to touch your chest so you can feel it more. Okay, one more on the other side. So switch around. So other side, you could, like depending on, you might want to put the opposite leg in front so that it feels a bit more stable. It's like slight bend in the elbow and then just coming right across, hold. That's it. Pulse, smooth. This is particularly good if you have some shoulder problems. This kind of exercise is going to feel a lot better than doing a chest, like a dumbbell press or bench press, because you really focus on the chest and it's really smooth and it's more of a distractive force, so it's actually going to help to like distract the joint rather than compress it. A few more seconds and rest. All right, good job guys. So that's the end of the B series of exercises. We've got a little break and then we're going to go into the last set of exercises. Hey guys, so for the final series of exercises, the C series, we're going to do a tricep exercise followed by a unilateral core exercise working on the rotators of the trunk. So this is that exercise is going to be really good for strengthening the lower back, and it's an overall very good core exercise. So for the first one we're going to do is a tricep extension. So you're going to use probably maybe the lighter band if you have a lighter band. So you're stepping on the band, then you're going to extend the arms straight up to the sky, so the elbows up, keep the back neutral, and then you're just extending the forearm. So really squeezing at the top and then slowly back. So you're keeping the elbow nice and still for this one, pausing, and then back again. So we're doing that for 60 seconds again, and then we're going to go into a trunk rotation with a band, so band resisted trunk rotation. So you're going to kneel 90 degrees to the band, start with the band right by your chest, then extend it out, sort of whatever is challenging for you. So if you find that it's really hard to keep your position here, then maybe bring it in a little bit, and then you're just rotating towards the band and then away from it, all the way around as far as you can. The main thing with this is to try and keep your hip still, because it's really easy to cheat with this and just rotate your hip as you go around and then rotate the hip like that, and then you're not really using these muscles. You almost want to think of like a opposite rotation, like a Chinese burn in your trunk as you're going. So as you're rotating this way, you're trying to rotate the other way with your hips, and then you're going this way, trying to find that squeeze sort of all around this part of your trunk. So we're going to do that one round for each side, and then that will be it for this little routine. Okay, So are you guys ready? So we're going to start with the tricep extension first. So just grab your band. So in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. So you're going to grab the band with both handles, step onto the band, and then extend the arms, and then extend the forearms. Now you want to really pause at the top here, really squeeze as hard as you can. Same with the sort of chest exercise we did in the previous round. Hold, and then slowly back. So really pause, and then back. So make sure you keep your back nice and neutral with this, chest up, so you're not rounding at the back like this. Definitely don't want to do that. So keep them nice, straight back, extend the elbows up, keep the elbows in the same place. As you extend the arm, hold it, squeeze, and then slowly back. This band is a little bit easy, bit too easy for me. Now if you wanted to make it easier, then you can sort of be more upright and then just kind of extend in this position if you've got less range, and it'll be a bit easier that way. So then we're going to go into the band resisted trunk rotation next. So you're going to kneel with both knees on the mat. So just make sure you're at far enough distance away that it's challenging enough. Slowly extend the arms and then rotate towards, just make sure you're keeping this hip is going this way or rotating that way as you rotate towards the band. And then go across. So keep the shoulders nice and relaxed. Just trying to find that squeeze in and around. You'll probably feel it more on this side, particularly around here, like the obliques. And maybe the erectors in the back. And what you can do, if you're having trouble feeling it the most, then you can either just hold it in this position, keep nice and tall, so you're just more of an isometric. That's maybe an easier thing to do to start with if you're having trouble with the motion. Or you can just do little rotations like this. Okay, and then we're going to switch sides. So you're going to do the other side. So we're going to turn around here. So both knees on the mat, 90 degrees. So extend the arm and then just little rotations. This is what you can do to start with. I feel it more on this side for sure already. So it's quite normal to have some imbalances with this. A lot of people are rotated in their trunk just from either sitting at a desk and looking to one side too much, or compensating with one side of the body more than the other. Just try and keep the hips as still as possible, so you're squeezing the glutes, and then just small rotations. Rotate across and then back, across, or you can just hold it here, keep everything still, squeeze, draw the belly into the spine, and then hold. A few seconds. And rest. Good job. Okay, and then we're going back to the tricep extension. So I'm going to use a heavier band this time. Use the heavy one. So you're going to grab the band with both handles, step onto the band, and then so just push the hips right back, keep the back straight. So you almost want to feel the hamstrings in this position. Extend the elbows up to the sky, and then squeeze the triceps to the top. Hold it, and then slowly back. Hold, so this band is significantly harder. That's it. Hold, and then slowly back. And if this is a bit too hard, you can just stand upright a bit more and then reduce your range. So it's a bit more like this. Still going to be hard here. So it's a little bit easier. A few more seconds. And rest. And then back to the to the trunk rotation. So you're going to go back onto the mat, 90 degrees. Or if you want to change the intensity, you could change your angle relative to the band. So if you're kind of more like this, it's going to be harder. Wherever the angle is 90 degrees to the band, it's going to be the hardest. So if I do it more at this angle, it's hard here. As I come across, it gets a bit easier because the band is going straight back rather than being across like that. Same with the chest exercise we did in the previous round. That's it. Hold. Keep nice and tall, chest up. Draw the belly into the spine. That's it, good. Few more seconds. Just try and keep the hips as still as possible. So squeeze the glutes, extend the hip, and then switch sides. Good job. And then straight into the other side. So this is an exercise that a lot of people tend to neglect, but it's probably one of the more important trunk exercises to do, or ab exercises. So if I'm in the same angle as I was on the other side, I'd turn this way a bit, so that just make sure you don't rotate too far. Like the band, the trouble with this way is the band is going to maybe rotate me into a position I can't get into. So you don't want to go too far because that might irritate your lower back. And then come across just to there. And then squeeze across. Keep the glutes contracted so that your hips don't move too much. Last few seconds. Sometimes it's better just to do the isometric when you haven't done this before, so that you can really focus on holding everything tight and really contracting the right areas. So that's it for the second round. We've got one more to go, and then that is it for today. So we're going back to the tricep extension. So whichever band was the right intensity for you, step on the band, and then so about hip width apart, extend all the way up with the elbows, so you're sort of almost squeezing the shoulders together, and then extend the forearm. So this really hits the long head of the tricep, which goes into the scapula, the shoulder blade. So this can be good for not just the triceps, but for other areas of the body. Sit, squeeze, and then slowly back. Again, this is another muscle, like the long head of the tricep, that quite often doesn't get trained as well as it should. Sit, pause, and then slowly back. Keep the elbows as still as possible. Hold. And again, if you want to make it harder, pull to the top more, and rest. Okay, so that's the end of that exercise. We've just got one more on the trunk rotation. So we're going to start on this side. So just kneeling on the ground, nice and tall posture. Start with the hands by the chest. Slowly extend out. So either just hold it here and do little rotations, or you can do more full range. It is really hard to kind of get a sense of what your end range is with this one, because there's nothing to stop you from moving at the hips as well. So that's why, in a way, it's good to do smaller rotations. Last few seconds. Few more. I think rotate, keep the hips still, come across, hold it. And switch sides. So then we're going to last round, last exercise. So make sure you're 90 degrees to the band. Start with hand by chest. Extend out. Now if you want to make it harder again, obviously just come further away from the band. There's more resistance. And it's going to want to rotate you this way more. And then rotate all the way across as far as you can. Hold. And then slowly back. That's it. Last few seconds. Keep going. Just keep attention. Keep nice and tall. So make sure you don't slouching or leaning to one side or moving the hips. And that is it. All right, good job, guys. So that is the end of this workout. So this is a really simple routine that you can do just using bands only and just something to hold the bands to. And it's actually very effective. And it may look like a simple routine, but it's very effective at training all the different areas of the body. So if you want to see more of these videos, just make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to click the like button, and I'll be uploading videos like this on a weekly basis.
The Body Engineers.